So Stu, it's been about 12 months since AI became the hot topic of the century. What's changed, do you think, in the last 12 months?
A lot. I mean, if you think about start of 2023, with the prevalence of awareness around OpenAI, ChatGPT, and things like Midjourney, I just think there was generally this sense that suddenly generative AI was on everyone's radar. It was going to change everything. We had to adopt it. Things were going to happen immediately. And I think across the last 12 months, it's been really apparent that certainly the first 6 months kind of felt like the Wild West. There was a lot of opportunism going on. I think we saw a lot of parlor tricks happening. It's certainly in social media, which I think skewed a lot of people's perceptions of what was possible. And then we saw that evolution of the way that people were starting to adopt it, starting to come to terms with it. We saw instances where it was being used like super Google. And that evolved into us becoming aware of that transformation or transition into more integrated generative AI. So, third party versus actually stuff that was native to the apps that we use on a day-to-day basis, or to, the cloud-based solutions we use on a day-to-day basis. I'm thinking Office 365 or Creative Cloud, where actually that sets something up. And these are the things that you and I and the work that we did in terms of taking time to really try and understand how this might change our industry. And I think that was part of our approach. And I think, Eva, it'd be good to ask you, what your perception on why we took that approach. Why did we do that?
Yeah, and I think, agree with what you said. I think the hype was around the tech, right? The AI tech. But our approach, I would say, is around the people, our people, right? It's about empowering our people, bringing them on this journey, right? Leveling them up if they didn't know what this was, but really listening to them as well, giving them that safe space to talk about this new thing, this new fandangled thing. You're giving them a safe space to experiment, right? And enabling them really to test out some of these apps, but also supporting them with an AI budget to say, okay, here are these apps, we've got a budget, let's be testing some things out and see if anything works right for us. And we've really, what that has become is really a kind of ongoing test and learn program where we do meet up periodically and we look at all the new apps that have come about. Does anything work? Do we need to, upgrade our stack? Do we need to pick something else, learn something else? Because new apps are coming out every day. So I'd say we chose the discovery and empowerment approach over the jump on the bandwagon and then just use it immediately. We learned a lot as well by going at it on this road. Maybe you can, kind of talk a little bit about what did we learn?
There was a lot of learnings along the way, wasn't there? I think one of the clear things, and again, it goes back to that point about how things changed in the last 12 months, is it's now really apparent that we're not there yet. And that anyone, I think, in that first 6 months that claimed to be an expert or have all the answers, we could probably say, yeah, you know what, that's probably not actually true. Things are changing the whole time. There are new apps coming up all the time. And actually, it's really interesting to think, how do you stay on top of that as an organization? An organization the size we are, let alone if you think about an enterprise organization, which a lot of our clients are, where this is a monster consideration for them because they have to think about all of those, the tech integration considerations and how do they control use. There is a regulatory black hole here at the moment. And again, I think that goes back to that point that I made when you asked me about what's changed, and it feeling like the wild, wild west. And there's this, there is a term that's going around at the moment, but people are calling things parlor tricks. And actually, a lot of social media was full of what appeared to be parlor tricks. I think that's why people got really fixated on the idea that, generative AI could be used to just accelerate creativity. And it's like, but the stuff that we were being teased with was very much being done in a kind of an exploratory, experimental way, with quite a large disregard for any sort of regulatory considerations around things like copyright or ethics. And actually, the reality is, in our world, applying it commercially, it's a lot harder. And actually, that leads into the other things that we learned about use on the way. So actually, one of our real kind of human learnings, in which why it was, I think we did exactly the right thing by taking the approach we took, was actually genuinely understanding what it's going to take for our teams, our people, to use generative AI in different ways, to use AI, and that's might be in creative, but it might be in a more operational sense. And actually, it isn't a case of buying a license to an app and believing the hype, and you press a button and everything's sorted out, because we know that's not the case. Actually, if you want something really polished, which in our world is what our clients expect from us, it takes an awful lot of human effort and intervention and time to actually craft the thing that you think you've been able to do quickly to get it up to the standard that it should be. And actually that then relies on people learning to do things in a different way. So the learning curve is a lot steeper. You're expecting people to change behaviors. Adoption actually takes more time, and in a way it slows things down to start with. And that, I think, was something that we identified, as we went through our approach and process, and why I think it was really valuable for us to do that. And actually, there were some practical considerations, like examples like where we've maybe used it to supplement or to augment stuff that we're doing creatively, say in Photoshop. And actually, generative AI is going to generate what it thinks the best final output is, but it actually doesn't give you the working files. That's not practical in our world either. So we have to, there's a lot for us to consider here. And that's why I think, going back to that first point, is it's constantly moving. And I don't think realistically anyone in the last 12 months could put a stake in the ground and say, we've got all the answers and this is what we're going to do. And I think that kind of is what's fueled you and I leading this program to start to develop I guess the stuff that we're doing as a follow-on. And I think some really key things that we've done, and you've been instrumental in taking the lead in some of those things. And it'd be good for you to talk about what we implemented from the learnings that we've had as well.
Yeah, absolutely. There are a few things that we did. I think the first thing, of course, is looking at that. You talked about the regulatory black hole. So, we thought guidelines was really important to kind of, tell the team, look, there are some things that you just shouldn't do, right? Personal information, popping it in there, copyright stuff, and plagiarism and things like that. And so we developed a set of guidelines, some do's and don'ts, right? And this is not exhaustive. I think we have a lot more work to do, and the tech is evolving, and we will evolve these guidelines as we go along. But we want to make sure that the business is protected, that our clients are protected first and foremost, if and when we do use some of these applications. And of course, as I said earlier, this GenAI budget that will allow us to have that ongoing test and learn program, so that we can make sure that we have the latest apps in our tech stack. If it is helping us, whether it's an AI plugin or whether it is a brand new app that's going to just help us with efficiency, help us with our workflow, it is getting tested and it is being implemented as and when the appropriate app is right to come into our workflow. And of course, we've started looking at what I would say, is there a commercial model, right? Can we harness it to kind of create or increase the kind of efficiency that we can obviously transfer to our clients? And this is the piece that I think it's going to be really interesting to see where this gets us, because right now, as you said earlier, there might be some things that seem like it's really easy. You could do a one-click if you were a standalone solo content creator at home in your bedroom trying to make a video, but not quite the same if you're an agency trying to do a nice polished product. So we're still exploring that, looking at how can we use it to the best of its potential, but yet produce that same kind of quality. And I think that the answer really is in that human and machine mashup, right? It's got to have that human element. That's why our focus, right, in obviously empowering our people and exploring with our people, because it's the people. Coming back to that, it's the people, not just the tech. The tech enables, but it's the people that are using it that matter.